The movie begins in an investment bank's offices, where employees are anxious due to impending layoffs. Will Emerson notices two nervous rookies and advises them to play it cool. A woman named Peter asks about Eric Dale, who, shockingly, has been fired after 19 years as head of risk management. Before leaving, Eric warns about a model he's been working on, but his warning is brushed off. Will Emerson, head of credit trading, visits Eric as he collects his belongings. Eric expresses frustration, especially after learning it was Sarah who chose him for termination. He tries to show Will his model, but Will refuses. Peter Sullivan and Seth Bregman sympathize with Eric as he leaves, and Eric gives Peter a pin drive containing his model, urging caution. Eric curses Chief Risk Management Officer Sarah Robertson as he leaves. Meanwhile, Sam Rogers, the floor leader, is dealing with personal struggles as he learns his dog is dying from a tumor. Will checks on Sam and informs him that most of the dismissed employees have already left. Sam gives an encouraging speech to the remaining employees, except for two who are not in a celebratory mood. Later, everyone goes out to celebrate keeping their jobs, but Sam leaves to be with his dying dog. Meanwhile, Peter stays at the office to review the files Eric left him. Peter discovers that historical volatility levels in mortgage-backed securities have been exceeded, and the resulting debt threatens to collapse the company. Unable to reach Eric, Peter calls Seth and asks him to bring Will back quickly for an emergency. Upon arriving, Peter reveals his findings to Will. They try to contact Eric but learn he hasn't returned home. Will directs Peter and Seth to Eric's favorite bar to bring him in while he informs their employer. Sam reluctantly returns to the office when he learns of the emergency. He's surprised by the dire forecasts for the company's future on the screen and requests Peter's immediate presence. Peter and Seth, having been drinking and watching dancers, rush back to the office for an emergency meeting with Sarah, division head Jared Cohen, and other executives. Sarah quickly verifies the accuracy of Peter's findings, leading to panic among the executives. Jared asks Sam how long it will take his team to clear the company's books, but Sam warns against rushing the process, fearing it will damage the company's reputation. Sarah agrees, noting the complexity of valuing the assets properly. Will, Peter, and Seth are asked to leave the room as the higher-ups engage in a heated argument. Jared pushes for selling everything, which Sam finds absurd. Sarah urges patience and a thorough review of the facts before making any rash decisions, but Jared insists on contacting the CEO for guidance. Meanwhile, on the roof, Will, Peter, and Seth smoke and discuss the dire situation. Will reflects that despite the disaster, the higher-ups will find a way to preserve the company, even if it means sacrificing others. Suddenly, a helicopter arrives, signaling the arrival of the top executives. Back inside, Sarah reassures Jared that everything is under control, but he blames her for not trusting Eric more. As preparations are made for another meeting, Jared advises the lower-level employees to always tell the truth and not sugarcoat anything. The meeting, led by the CEO John Told, is attended by all stakeholders, even in the middle of the night. Peter discusses the problem once more, and Jared suggests selling everything tonight as a solution. Sam emphasizes the consequences of selling worthless assets through lies, which would damage the company's reputation and the stock market for years. However, CEO John Told is unconcerned and wants the company to thrive. He gives everyone an hour to rest and find Eric before proceeding with the plan. John meets with Sam privately to seek his support, but Sam remains hesitant. Meanwhile, Sarah warns Jared not to betray her with their chosen tactic, or she'll bring him down with her. Eric's wife informs the company that he has returned home, but he refuses to speak with them. Sam sends Will and Seth to pick him up discreetly. John visits Sarah's office to inform her that she'll be the scapegoat for the firm's over-leveraged condition, urging her to retire following the fire sale. Sarah defends herself, stating she tried to warn John and Jared but was ignored. John offers her a handsome payoff regardless. In the garage, Jared approaches Will and Seth, expressing concern about Sam opposing the fire sale. He asks if Will step in if Sam doesn't comply, but Will avoids the question, expressing confidence in Sam. Will and Seth arrive at Eric's house and explain the situation to him, inviting him to return for just one day. Eric declines, but John's men arrive, pressuring him with an offer and a warning. Eric decides not to accept their offer, prompting a confrontation. Seth asks Will if he'll lose his job, and Will replies with uncertainty. Seth expresses concern about the potential fallout for ordinary people if the plan goes wrong. Will admonishes him, reminding him that in their line of work, caring too much about the ordinary person isn't sustainable. He suggests that if Seth values his job, he should focus on the task at hand. At the office, John approaches Sam with a significant monetary offer to gain his support, but Sam rejects it, affirming his allegiance to the company's future. Peter approaches Sam, worried about his job security. Sam admits they'll likely both lose their jobs due to the impending catastrophe. Meanwhile, Seth is overwhelmed with anxiety in the bathroom, fearing for his future. Jared enters the bathroom, showing little concern for Seth's fears. Eric returns to the workplace out of fear of losing his benefits, meeting with Sarah, who apologizes for the situation and explains she had warned Jared and John weeks ago, but was ignored. Sam addresses his team, instructing them to sell everything by the end of the day, offering a substantial monetary incentive. He apologizes for the situation and expresses pride in his team's abilities. The traders quickly spring into action, selling to anyone willing to buy. However, suspicions arise among their counterparties, leading the firm to sell at a significant loss. Nonetheless, they manage to rid themselves of the majority of the bad assets. Jared visits Sam to commend him on a job well done and instructs him to start sending people home immediately. He assures Sam that he won't be fired because his support for the sale pleased the higher-ups. This infuriates Sam, who rushes to John, demanding to be released from his options and to leave the company after the fiasco. However, John insists that Sam must stay for another 24 months, after which he'll be allowed to leave. Despite John's attempts to downplay the situation, Sam is tormented by guilt. John finds Sam's moral dilemma amusing, believing that money is just paper and that they've always operated in a morally dubious manner. Sam reluctantly agrees to stay, primarily for financial reasons rather than because he agrees with John's worldview. John expresses gratitude to Peter, promising him job security and a promotion. Later that evening, Sam returns to his former home to bury his euthanized dog in the front yard. His ex-wife initially mistakes him for an intruder but recognizes him and allows him to bury the dog. She informs Sam that their former company also suffered significant losses but managed to avoid bankruptcy.